Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. In this video I'm going to take you through the Forex market outlook. I'm going to identify some strengths and weaknesses in the currencies and apply that to a few charts of interest. So just going to first of all start off with the strength and weakness table. Now there's been lots of changes to this, and most notable I would say is the Swiss franc. We spoke about the Swiss franc for the past couple of weeks starting to gain potential momentum from those high, or I should say those low value areas. When we talk about the Swiss franc, it's this pink line on the strength meter just behind, and we can see that as soon as we start taking that little bit of a dip up, that's when we need to take notice of it. And ever since that, we've started to see a decent upward move in the Swiss franc. Especially last week, we saw that strength really come through against a lot of the currencies. So definitely something we can focus on going into this week. What I also like is the fact that the euros remained pretty neutral. I actually think there's a little bit more upside to come to the euro. We can see that again, the euro is the blue line, and you can see that it's just trending up slightly. But Swiss franc, the strongest currency, definitely one to watch this week. I think we can watch it against a number of different currencies. You can see here that the dollar has been moving negatively in line with that seasonal analysis that we spoke about recently. So I think that we could start seeing dollar Swiss being the chart to watch. And we could also look for some dollar weakness elsewhere, especially against the sort of yen and Kiwi, as we've started to see Kiwi bounce from that -5 as well. And you can see that it's kind of merged in with the yen line here, and is starting to see some decent upside as well. So I'm just going to focus on the Swiss franc and the potential there for today. I'm also going to touch slightly in on the pound as well, because we've seen the pound dip quite nicely lower ever since we sort of saw that top, and we've spoke about pound weakness for a while. So just going to take a look at a couple of charts of interest. So let's head over to the charts, and we can see here that I have euro US dollar. So last week we spoke about a level around about 19.17 as a decent point. I've just looked at the volumes again just to kind of see if there has been any kind of accumulation at this point. So the volume level sort of moved towards 19.25, but anywhere between sort of 19.15 and 19.25 was the area where we saw some decent high volumes come in. And we have to kind of look at the assessment of trend here. We can see that we do have this downtrend. However, if I was just to take you to the weekly time frame, it doesn't look very bearish here. It looks more bullish. We're definitely more in a bullish uptrend on the weekly time frame. So I would rather be a buyer of this market now, especially due to the sort of move that we're seeing here. A nice slowdown into the level, nice rejection of this particular volume zone at 117.78. And we start to see a little bit more upside. So this week I'm almost thinking that we could see a little bit of a dip before seeing a breakout and a move higher in line with that seasonal opportunity on the US dollar. So if I actually go down into sort of the 4-hour time frame, we can see that this area down here, we saw a lot of buying coming into the market, and we haven't actually tested the volume levels through this area, and 117.78 was a level that was really interesting to me. So the area that I looked at in particular was sort of in and around this point. There's lots of sort of volume coming in at 117.78. So what I can almost see happening is one or two things. We're going to see either a little bit of an early pullback in the week, and then later in the week we could see a retest of this area for a long opportunity, or alternatively we're just going to see the dollar continue to weaken, and we're going to see a breakout of the current highs around about that 19.26 area, where we could see a breakout further. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for here on euro this week. That leads me on to dollar Swiss, so very much the inverse of euro US dollar. If I actually go on to dollar Swiss and just zoom in a little bit, we can see that we have a really nice strong bearish week compared to the bullish week on euro US dollar. Why did price particularly fall from this area? Well, there was a huge supply zone up here on dollar Swiss. We can see that at this point there was some very strong selling coming into the market, and we saw a huge move to the downside. So obviously price has come back to this point, and it's allowed institutions to get back in. So that means to me that we could see some further downside. Now, what we like to talk about as well is the sort of 236 move in here. So if I actually use the fib and start at this swing low, I'm just going to bring it up to the current swing high. We can see that price has closed below the 236. That to me is a sign that we're going to see a trend reversal. So what we actually could see from the higher time frame is actually a head and shoulders pattern forming, with the left shoulder coming in at 0.9375, the head coming in at the highs through here around about 0.945. So we could see a potential retest of this area for the potential right shoulder to form. Okay, now so that could lead us to a nice short position on dollar Swiss. Alternatively, we do have a demand zone here at 0.92. Okay, so just go down into the 4-hour time frame to show you this one. Huge demand coming again. Why is this a huge demand zone? Well, you can see there was a slight consolidation and then huge buying momentum coming from the market again. We haven't come and retested this demand, so I'm expecting price to do that. So I've also put an alternative level in at 0.93, so we could see almost a little bit of a complex pullback here into 0.93 and move down into the demand zone for then price to pull back after that. Alternatively, I would like to see selling coming back in at 0.375. Okay, that's the kind of area I do like on dollar Swiss. Now that actually leads me to looking at the strong against the weak currencies. So we know pound's weak, Swiss franc is strong. If I actually go into pound Swissy now and take a look, it's very similar price action where we've got this huge bearish candlestick. So I'm expecting some further downside, because you've got to look at what happened down here. We had a huge accumulation. Now what that means is that institutions have been building positions in and around this zone, and we've decided to break out higher. So we could actually be moving back to this point for long opportunities. So we could see a little bit of further downside. Daily time frame obviously breaking through these recent lows, and there's a couple of levels that I just want us to take note of here. And the levels that I'd want to take note of is the demand zone below at 126.35. We also have a sell opportunity potentially at 1.2786, and we also have a level all the way up at 129.46. And you can see there's resistance in here, resistance. Price has then obviously broken through it. We also have some support from this area, so we could see some sellers coming back in here, or ideally the level for me would be all the way up at 129.46 to be short, because we do have obviously that selling pressure coming from this point. May even come a little bit higher into this sort of area here for that short opportunity. Okay, so I quite like pound Swiss short from these levels. Finally, I'm going to go on euro pound, just because euro pound is pretty much the opposite to pound Swiss. We saw a lot of buying coming in at 0.849, which is something that we've actually spoke about a number of times. Lots of strong buying. Again, I think we're going to get a decent pullback in this move, and the levels that are really going to interest me again is obviously back down towards 0.8499, because this is where we have seen a lot of buying stepping into the market. Alternatively, we have a level at 0.8562. So again, just simply, if price was to pull back into this area, I'd be looking for long opportunities from here or from back down at around about 0.8499. Hope you enjoyed this video update, and I'll catch you soon.